Hi, everybody. So we're going to do the question video. And I'm going to answer as many questions as I can today. Now, I just want to make you guys aware, there's no way that I probably would be able to answer everything. So I get a lot of questions every week and I'm doing my best, but I don't think every question will ever get answered. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. That's my disclaimer. But I want to show you a few things. If you're having a hard time, then I would go ahead and sign up for Healing with Honey. If you're having some kind of a body issue, it's $9 a month. I wanted to talk to you about talking to your own higher self. So that's where I'm getting my answers, is from my higher self or my soul. And soul guidance, which is very inexpensive, is on my website as well. And I'll put those two things below. I want to show you something that I just love. So this, I'm going to share my screen. Came from somebody I did an exchange with. And basically, she painted me this painting, which is amazing. And it kind of goes along with my new website and my new channel that's more mainstream. It's not really mainstream, but it's more mainstream. And that channel will get filled out. It's just going to take some time. But basically, we are rising from the ashes. We're about to see the ashes happen, and then we're going to rise from them. So the Phoenix is a huge theme for what's coming. And I think I'm going to make t-shirts so people can have those. But Molly is the lady that created this for me. And I'm going to have her information below. I don't think she's doing a whole lot at the moment, but she probably will be. So any link that she's given me, I'm going to put below this video, because this is just great. I really enjoy this painting. And it'll be up on the wall soon. You can see it's behind me as well, but I'm waiting for the hanger. So, yeah, there it is. But this camera is not very good. And it's pretty dark. So we actually have a pretty cloudy day today and it's cold. So let's go through these questions. So Gary is having memory issues. Okay. Okay. So this is for Gary from Nancy. This feels like an Akashic thing. He needs some better nutrition for his brain. I would see a naturopathic doctor, but in the meantime, I would do lion's mane, walnut, and I wouldn't hesitate to do a parasite cleanse either, but I'm not a doctor. And I definitely would recommend in this case to go see a natural doctor, just to get everything dealt with right away. I wouldn't wait. But walnuts are for the brain. And if you think about food, food is shaped like the thing that it's going to help in the body. So walnuts look like a brain and they're great for the brain. Lion's mane kind of looks like a brain too, and it's great for the brain. So I would definitely get both of those, and I would get a tincture with the lion's mane. And I would just eat walnuts. Yeah. But then I would make an appointment with a naturopathic. So a regular naturopathic doctor. Okay. So this is from Bridget. And she's wondering what her talent may be. Is it her genetics? So she will be able to communicate with animals. That's one of the questions she's asking. When do I see her with dragons? I see her with dragon eggs. So eventually we'll have access to this kind of stuff. And I do see her with dragon eggs. She's very good with children. So she's going to be really good with young children and young animals. So yeah, that's going to be great, Bridget. So let's see what the next one is. Okay. So reoccurring nightmares are usually you're tapping into like a parallel lifetime or a past life, which are the same thing. So there was a shadow or an evil being, and this comes from Faye, who was getting into people that she trusted. This was happening in this parallel lifetime. So I would just break the contract for that. That's a shadow. That being is a shadow. And it's a shadow of herself. So this is a lifetime. So that shadow came in, and that's why you keep getting it. That shadow is a lifetime that you had where you were the bad guy and you weren't able to acknowledge it, but it's also a lesson. So it keeps showing itself to you so that it can be forgiven. So you need to forgive that shadow. And then the shadow will just reintegrate. We've all had lifetimes where we did naughty stuff. And this is so we could learn. And it's part of the whole progression of a soul. So I would go ahead and break that contract and also say, you know, I do forgive you for what you've done. And that's just going to dissolve it. So we had a soul in my family or a shadow, and we just love bombed this shadow. So we basically just bombed it with bubbles of love, and it ran away. So it really does matter. Like, you really need to forgive. It's really important right now because all of our shadows are coming to be acknowledged and come back into the fold. So it's usually like something that you haven't forgiven about yourself if you're consistently having it like in front of you. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so Donna is asking, what is the future of our trees if we have year-round weather that's very similar? They're going to adapt. So just like us, the trees are also ascending. We may lose a couple of species in certain areas, but not everywhere. Also, elevation makes a difference. So the trees will actually do really well. They're going to be really happy. They don't want to lose their leaves every year. This is just part of the cycle that was created. And then she wants to know about parasites. The parasites will go as we grow our light. So as you become more and more crystalline, which we are now at this point, we're crystalline. So as you get into that feeling and you know it in your body, then the bugs will cease to exist. The bugs that bother you. Okay, so just imagine that you have a light inside of you. And you know how they have the dimmer switches? And you can turn it up and up and up and up. Just turn up your light. So if you're being bothered by, I don't know, ticks or fleas or flies or mosquitoes, I don't see any of those staying around. And I also don't see parasites staying around in the body. but we have to say no. So that's where we're at with it. We have to say no to it at this point. Okay, so this is really interesting. I like the dreams that get sent in. So this is from Marta, and she's had 2 Mr. T dreams. The first one, he knocked on her door and asked her to have lunch with Melania and himself to arrange lemons for an event. So what does that mean? The lemons are both sour, but they're good for you, right? So I would say that would be to help with explaining, explanation, red pilling, something like that. The second dream was he was healing her, and this is true, he was healing her. So he put his hand on one side of her face and then blew onto the solar plexus. So the heart space is what's opening now. And it's really important that that heart space gets open because we need to make our decisions from there. And the solar plexus is where it gets opened at. And then the side of the face feels like her interpretation of the opening of the heart. So she respects him, and that's why he shows up as the symbol in her dream. Okay, so this is from Trish. And this is the kind of question that I would encourage you guys to use like a pendulum. So any kind of yes or no question, you can really get an answer that's good, or even the sway test, like yes or no. Okay, so Trish is asking, she wants to relocate to to New York. Okay, she loved it. She's 74. And she wants to know, is this something she should pursue? I get yes. So you're going to actually help change the city. Now, as far as when, I'm getting more spring. So I'm not necessarily getting September or October. I'm getting spring, so more like March is what I'm getting. I think the atmosphere there will be different and more ready for you at that point. Okay, and this is from Jeanette. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. She's been losing weight lately. She's a little concerned about her health. So I'm not a doctor. However, things that are really good for the heart is cayenne pepper. And I would probably do a half a teaspoon. Get to the point where you're doing, my hair is driving me crazy. Get to the point where you're doing about probably half a teaspoon a day of that. And I would look into DMSO for your hands and feet. I really would. Those are some pretty amazing and easy things to do. Okay, so this is from Edie, and it's a picture. And it's quite cool, actually. So she says she took this from the balcony without, any glass. So basically she was on the balcony. And look at this. Here's one sun and another sun. So I've been seeing a lot of these. I don't know if you guys have, let me know in the comments. We have more than one sun in the sky right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot more than 2. But we definitely have an illusion going on when it comes to the sky. But that's a great picture. Thank you so much for that. And then let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is another question. It's from Debbie. And she's asking about Robert, and his last name is Kraft, and he's the owner of the Patriots. Okay. So I'm not going to say everything she's saying about him in here, but definitely not one of the nice guys. Okay. Is he gone? I get yes, he's gone. Is he off planet Earth? Yeah, it hasn't been for very long though. But he's been replaced in the public eye for a long time. So we are truly watching a movie. Like if you see anybody that is in the public eye, almost all of them are like false at this point. You're looking at actors almost all the time. Okay. So let's see what else we've got here, you guys. Hang on one sec. Okay, so this is a recommendation, and it's for the show called Unexplained on the History Channel. And they've been talking about giants in Italy, underground tunnels, interconnected everywhere, ley lines, energy, a pyramid, and the like beyond the ice wall, I'll just say. And also they don't have any idea why the giant skeletons disappeared, but most of us know that that had to do with a certain museum starting with an S, and they actually paid people to get rid of them. There's a lot of cool stuff in this show, I guess. So thank you, Kim. And we're really looking at a lot of stuff right now that's disclosure in shows. I'm shocked by it. Like, it's kind of amazing. And some of them are showing up that are like really old, and all of a sudden they seem like they have a ton of disclosure. So don't be afraid to watch TV now. And I wouldn't say like television, but some of the Netflix shows. I don't know if I recommend regular TV, but movies and certain things that you go to pick that look like they're going to show you something, I wouldn't be afraid to watch them anymore. The frequencies are pretty much fixed. So you don't need to worry about getting a weird frequency anymore. Okay, so this one is very interesting. It doesn't have a name, but so this person has been awakened suddenly, usually due to spirits, but this time it had to do with a machine, and it was about 12 inches in diameter. And it looked a little bit like a slender moon rover. And it had little telescope-like arms, and it was examining. So after a few seconds, they said, "You can leave now," really loudly. And it rose higher above them and then connected to a visibly larger, similar looking machine. And they want to know, and I don't know if this is a man or a woman, but they want to know, was it a being or a machine? It's a robotic. It has some consciousness. That's why it left, because you told it to. And the second time you said, "You can leave now," and you said it, sternly, then it went. Did it mean any harm? I get no, but I feel like you're tapping into some of the AI that's in transition. You're actually working with some of this stuff in the astral plane. So it was like bleeding through. That's what it feels like. Because you actually are quite powerful in the astral plane, whoever you are, because I don't have your name here. Okay, so this next question is about a twin flame, and it comes from Carrie. So the twin flame idea is going away. So how do I explain this? You're going to be, so basically you're going to be more like twins versus being the twin flame. Twin flame is kind of like a learning process. So it's when you chose to come and split and learn. And a lot of times that's in conflict. 15% of the time it can be in romance. You were like two pieces of one puzzle, basically. But it wasn't easy. It's not easy to be a twin flame. So now this being, is it a twin flame or not? It feels more like a sibling. So not a twin flame. And I think you're going to actually be more like a partnership. Best friends comes in. So twin flames are not the romantic thing that they're cracked up to be. They're a really big like focus. And I don't know if the bad guys kind of kicked that off or what. But like the idea of them as being this tremendously romantic thing, it's actually hard. Twin flames are hard. And they don't really exist anymore. Like we're phasing that period out and we're going into siblings or twins. So you could be a romantic couple as twins, twin souls. But it would be easier then. So there wouldn't be as much conflict. So the fact that we're leaving polarized or duality type of universe, we're leaving that behind. That is going to help take away the conflict with twins. So hopefully that helps. It's not the best explanation, but okay, so here's a great question. So Steve is asking, you mentioned that the moon was lit from the inside. How does this occur? Okay, so I have a whole show on that, and it's deep in the hidden history shows, but it's just dedicated to the moon. The moon that we see, especially that we used to see, we still like imagine it the same way, but was a luminary. So it's basically built of plasma, and it was lit from the inside, and it still is. What we see is the same, but remember, we create our own reality. So that takes it even further into the weirdness. But the moon is basically like a pancake up there. We've never seen the other side of it. The only time we have seen anything that resembles a round moon is paintings, just like the Earth is a painting from NASA. So the moon, the actual moon, was a spaceship, and we couldn't see it. So for an explanation of this, what would you watch? I would watch The Truman Show. So I would watch The Truman Show, and I would also watch Moonfall, those two shows. And you will understand what I'm talking about. I hope that helps. Okay, so this is from Libby, and Libby has a very unawake spouse, and they've recently found themselves next to one of their children in Iowa, and then all the other kids moved to Iowa. So what's going on? She's basically regridding that area. That's why they're there. So she's raising the frequency. I always had a pretty low frequency, and she's helping that so that area can be like reborn, kind of. So that's really good, actually. Okay, so this is from Lindsay. This is a fabulous question. So I was wondering about the consciousness of our bodies. Does our body itself have a separate soul along with our higher self in it? It has a consciousness. I wouldn't call it a soul exactly, but it will become one. And as it grows right now, like, so we started out with 2 strands of DNA, and now we're going to have 12. And I think that's already happened. But as that happens, we are capable of containing more and more and more consciousness. So what is the human avatar doing? The human avatar is expanding to become like a really big being eventually. It's almost like the toddler. You know, you have a toddler, and we are growing the human consciousness from toddler to probably college. So it's a growth spurt that we're going through. And what's going to happen is the human consciousness will be able to be on its own eventually. That's going to be part of the ascension. So eventually it'll be one being. Now, it'll still be a younger being than a lot of beings, but it'll be able to really hold its own. So I'm very excited for humanity. Okay, so I'm going to explain this a little more. Okay, so you have your body. Okay, so let's say this is your body. And then a soul comes into the body. Good thing I have props. Okay. And that's it. You have the 2 things. Your soul is your higher self. Okay. And usually, so in the past, only 10% of the soul could get in because it was just too much for the human body. But now the human body is going crystalline, right? So 100% eventually of this soul will be inside this body, doing amazing things for humanity. And that's happening now. And that's how we're getting all these gifts and all those memories that are coming in. I don't know about you guys, but if you're dreaming now, you're actually doing a lot of that stuff. And it's coming in as the way the brain can handle it. Because up in the astral plane, it's just light. We're playing with light up there. So you look like a light body. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about this with Abby in a couple of days. We just watched a movie, and we're going to highly recommend that movie. And it is kind of a mind blower, but it really explains what's happening here. So you have this amazing soul that's in your body, and the human existence has to expand and rise. So as we do that, the consciousness in the human being is becoming more and more well-rounded. And also the human being can hold more and more consciousness because it's going from the 2 strand to the 12. So basically the human being is accelerating and becoming what it was meant to be in the first place. An absolutely beautiful being. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed that. And just think about like loving yourself, loving your body. Take care of your body. It's been here for you this whole time. Okay. All right. Have a great day, you guys, okay? Bye.